What happens when you die? Is there a light at the end of the tunnel, or nothing at all? Ian McCormack thought he had life figured out until one fateful night on a beach changed everything. This is the true story of a man who died and came face to face with Jesus Christ. Ian McCormack was a thrill seeker, a New Zealander, a surfer, a traveler. He lived for adventure, pleasure, and freedom. Though raised in an Anglican family and confirmed at 14, he could not consider himself a Christian. He had had no personal experience with God, and so, rather than be a hypocrite, he chose to walk away from God entirely. But his mother's words stuck in his mind. Often it takes a tragedy to humble us. Men by nature tend to be quite proud. She said, "I'm not going to force you to come to church, but remember this one thing. Whatever you do in life, wherever you go, no matter how far you think you've gone away from God, remember this one thing. If you're in trouble and in need, cry out to God from your heart, and He will hear you. He will hear you and forgive you." In his 20s, Ian set off to explore the world, Asia, Africa, Europe, and finally, the exotic island of Mauritius in the Indian Ocean. One night on one of such adventures, Ian went night diving in the coral reef. He'd been in the company of his friends, but for some reason, he got separated from them. While hunting for crayfish, he saw a strange sea creature that looked like a squid. Intrigued by the creature and overcome by curiosity, he reached out and grabbed it. It slipped away from his grasp. It looked like it had the head of a squid, but its shape was more box-like, with strange, finger-like tentacles. Its body was transparent, and he'd never seen a jellyfish like that before. Nevertheless, Ian looked away and went back to searching for crayfish. Unknown to him, he was swimming among deadly box jellyfish, the second most venomous creatures in the world. Suddenly, out of nowhere, something stung him with an incredible shock. It was not like anything he had experienced before. What had that been? He searched around with his underwater flashlight but saw nothing that posed a significant threat. Not wanting to get paranoid, he went about his hunt for crayfish. Out of the corner of his eye, he saw these transparent creatures swim gently towards him, their tentacles spread out. As one of them brushed past him, he was hit with the same mind-numbing pain like the first time. And now he knew. These were no playthings. He quickly swam to the surface in search of his friends, worried about the consequences of the 2 stings he had already received. Were they deadly? Just how much would he suffer? The pain was throbbing and unbearable, like fire under his skin. While waiting for his friends, he felt something brush against him in the water, and then a third vicious sting. He was reeling in shock and unimaginable pain. Sighting one of his friends underwater, he told him, "I want to get out." He went back underwater to swim back to the boat, and there, right in front of his face, another jellyfish surged right at him, gunning for his face. In a moment of quick thinking, Ian raised his arm to block the blow and instead took the sting on his arm. Finally, getting out of the deep end, he swam to the actual reef. His arm was swollen to 3 times its normal size and had welts across where the tentacles had been dragged. "How many times have you been stung?" his friend asked, to which he replied, "4, I think." The look of fear and seriousness on his friend's face made Ian know he was in a bad situation. "You've got to go to a hospital," he said. As they moved him out of the reef and towards shore, the unthinkable happened. Ian was stung one more time. The 5th time, he had been standing in the reef with his body partially in the water. "What have I done to deserve this?" he asked, and all the memories of his sin came flooding back. He had done plenty to deserve this, he thought. The poison in his blood was spreading fast. Still a long way from the beach, Ian began to struggle to move, to breathe, to focus. He was paralyzed, collapsing on the beach. With help, he made it to the main road and was left in front of a hotel building. But this was midnight. The road was devoid of cars or any living, moving thing. By a stroke of the divine hand, Daniel, a friend of his, emerged from the hotel to find him sprawled and groveling in the dirt. "What's wrong with you? Are you drunk? Are you stoned? "What's wrong with you?" Ian showed him the blisters and swelling from the bites, and without further questions, Daniel lifted him, ran, and deposited him in a safe place, and then went for help. He came back with an ambulance. In the ambulance heading to the hospital, Ian could feel his life slipping from him. Scenes from his life began to flash before him in clear, vivid pictures. He had heard about it, read about it. Now he was experiencing it firsthand. His thoughts began to race with the reality of imminent death. "Why did I go diving?" he thought. "I should have stayed home." Suddenly, with remarkable lucidity, Ian saw a vision of his mother repeating those same words from long ago. "Ian, no matter how far from God you are, no matter what you've done wrong, if you cry out to God from your heart, He will hear you and He will forgive you." Ian wondered how to pray. Which of the myriad gods would he pray to? What would he say? Would God hear him? He had been a practicing atheist for the better part of his life. The only prayer he knew was the Lord's Prayer his mother had taught him so many years ago. Even at that, it was so choppy in his memory. The poison was taking a toll on his mind. He was shutting down. As he lay there, he remembered his mother saying, "You don't pray from your head, you pray from your heart." So he said, "God, I don't know where this prayer is, but I want to pray it. Help me." As he prayed, he felt the prayer coming from his spirit. "Forgive us our sins. Forgive those who have sinned against you. Your will be done." He prayed, "God, I ask you to forgive my sins, but I have done so many things wrong. I know they're wrong. My conscience tells me they're wrong. If you can forgive me all my sins, and I don't know how you can do it. I've got no idea how you can forgive them. Please forgive me of my sins. God, forgive me." Ian meant every word. He wanted to start over on a clean slate. He didn't realize it at the time, but that was his prayer for salvation. Not from his head, but from his heart, asking, "God, forgive me for my wickedness and evil doing. God, cleanse me. I forgive all those who have hurt me. And Jesus Christ, I'll do your will be done. I will follow you." As Ian prayed, an overwhelming sense of peace washed over his heart. It was as if the fear of what lay ahead simply lifted away. He was still dying, but now he felt no dread. He was at peace with his Maker. Deep inside he knew, truly knew, that he had touched God, and for the first time in his life, he could hear him. He had never heard God's voice before, but now God was speaking to him. No one else could have told him the Lord's Prayer. It had to be God. He was taken to a poorly equipped World War II hospital, but the doctors knew no one survives 5-box jellyfish stings. He had enough toxins in his blood to kill him 5 times over. They fussed over him, poking and prodding, knowing that their best efforts could only do so much. Finally, involuntarily, Ian heaved a deep sigh, like a sigh of relief. His body had completely shut down, and Ian slipped into darkness. And then he left his body. Ian realized he'd become a spirit. He could no longer feel his physical body. Suddenly, he was pulled into total blackness, a void, a darkness that could be felt. Not like sleep, more like a place without God. A cold, malevolent presence began to move around him. What really was this place? From his thoughts, he began to hear voices screaming, speaking, and shouting. There were others around him. A sense of evil closed in, and he realized this was hell. Ian cried out, "Why am I here? I've asked you for forgiveness. Why am I here? I've turned my heart to you. Why am I here?" Then from the darkness a light appeared, like a star growing brighter. It came closer and closer, until it filled the space around him. Ian felt himself lift off as he began to ascend into the light. He moved through a tunnel of light at great speed. His mind could not conceive what he was experiencing, nor could he speak of it. At last, Ian found himself standing in brilliant, pure, living light. He stood face to face with the glory of God, like Moses experienced on the mountain. From the light, a voice spoke to him. "Ian, do you want to return?" He was shocked to know that there was a person in the light, and that person knew him by name. Ian replied, "If I am out of my body, I don't know where I am. I wish to return." "If you wish to return, Ian, you must see in a new light." He knew immediately that it was the voice of God. He was light. From that light he felt pure, uninhibited, undeserved love wash over him. God knew the life he had lived, and he loved him in spite of it. Ian stepped into this dazzling, ethereal, healing light with one thought on his mind. If this is God, then I want to see him face to face. I want to know the truth about life. Right before him was the form of a man clothed in glorious white light like a garment, reaching down to his ankles. Ian stepped closer, trying to make out a face, but the brilliance of the light was all he could see. This figure emanated holiness, purity, and love. This could only be God Almighty, Ian thought. No one else but God could look like this. As he moved to one side, the light moved with him. Ian saw behind him a doorway, and beyond it, the most beautiful garden, green rolling hills and blue skies. Paradise. Just a step away from him. He had finally found what his soul longed for. Yet, as he made for the door, Jesus stepped back in front of it. "Ian, now that you have seen, do you wish to return?" Jesus asked. Ian thought, "Return? Of course not. Why would I want to go back? Why would I want to return to the misery and hatred? No, I have nothing to return for. I have no wife or kids, no one who really loves me. I want to go on in." Immediately, in a clear vision right before his eyes, Ian saw his mother. She loved him. She had prayed for him relentlessly. She had tried to show him her faith. Behind her, Ian saw his father, his siblings, and a multitude of people. "Who are these other people?" Ian asked. God said, "If you don't return, many of these people will not get an opportunity to hear about me because many will not put their foot inside a church. If you return, you must see things in a new light. Now open your eyes and see." And then, like lightning, Ian was sent back into his body. The doctors were stunned. Ian had been dead for 15 to 20 minutes, and now he was back to life, just like that. But he wasn't the same. He was changed. Ian returned home to New Zealand, and over the next months, he pored over the scriptures and gave his life completely to Jesus. The same Jesus who met him in death now walked with him in life. Ian became an evangelist, sharing his story with millions around the world. From surfers to skeptics, his message is the same. There is life after death. Heaven and hell are real. Jesus is alive and he loves you. You may never be stung by jellyfish or face death tonight, but one day we all will stand before the judgment throne of God. What will matter then is who you know, not what you've done. Do you know Jesus? Have you surrendered your life to him? Just like Ian's mother prayed, someone may be praying for you right now. Don't wait. Say yes to Jesus. Call on him now. If this story moved you, please like, share, and subscribe to Faith Reflections 247 and leave a comment below. Do you believe Ian's story? Have you ever had a supernatural experience? Remember, Jesus is closer than you think. Even in death, he is life.